We've almost totally stopped it by sea. Now we'll stop it by land. We are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control. We've had a couple of days where there isn't a boat to be found. And that, I view that as a good thing, not a bad thing. But we had tremendous amounts coming in by boats, by very expensive boats. You know, they have a lot of money, very fast, very expensive boats that were pretty big. And the way you look at it is every boat that we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives. So every time you see a boat and you feel badly, you say, wow, that's rough. It is rough, but if you lose 3 people and save 25,000 people, these are people that are killing our population. Every boat is saving 25,000 lives, and you can see it. The boats get hit, and you see that fentanyl all over the ocean. It's like floating in bags. It's all over the place.
Trump authorizes CIA ops in Venezuela to crack down on drug cartels. Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Big developments coming out of Washington today. President Donald Trump has just confirmed that the United States is shifting its fight against the cartels from the sea to the land. After claiming that the U.S. has nearly stopped fentanyl and drug smuggling by sea, Trump says the next phase is already underway, and it involves the CIA operating inside Venezuela. This is a major escalation in America's war on drugs and could have huge geopolitical consequences. Let's break it all down. Trump says America has almost totally stopped drug trafficking by sea, boasting that for days, not a single smuggling boat has been found. According to him, these boats were massive, high-speed vessels loaded with fentanyl and other deadly substances. He claims that destroying every one of those boats saves up to 25,000 American lives. Whether you believe the numbers or not, this marks a major shift in how the U.S. is fighting the drug war. He made it clear the ocean is under control, and the next battleground is the land. When asked about the next phase, Trump didn't hold back. He said, "We are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control." He didn't go into details, but hinted that the CIA is leading operations targeting cartel supply chains and smuggling routes across Venezuela and neighboring regions. This is a bold and risky move, one that could put pressure not just on traffickers but also on the Maduro regime. Before we go further, make sure you click the subscribe button and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss the next update when this story develops, because if land strikes begin, it's going to dominate the headlines. Trump revealed 2 key reasons behind authorizing the CIA operations in Venezuela. First, he claims that Venezuela has emptied its prisons and mental institutions into the United States, sending violent criminals and the mentally ill across the southern border. Second, he says, Venezuela is one of the main routes for fentanyl and narcotics coming into America. According to him, these actions amount to an act of aggression, and the U.S. is responding accordingly. When asked if the CIA has permission to take out Nicolas Maduro himself, Trump refused to answer, calling it a ridiculous question, but refusing to deny it. That silence says a lot. Both Republicans and Democrats on Capitol Hill are reportedly asking for more details about these CIA strikes, specifically who or what was targeted. Trump brushed off those concerns, saying every vessel hit was loaded with drugs and therefore fair game. He described seeing fentanyl dust all over the boats after the strikes, insisting that each one saved thousands of lives. He also hinted that the operations could expand if the land phase proves effective. For Trump, this is about strength, showing that the U.S. will no longer play defense against cartels or regimes that enable them. This move puts Washington and Caracas on a collision course. Venezuela has already condemned previous U.S. actions as violations of sovereignty, and direct CIA involvement could escalate tensions even further. But Trump seems unconcerned. He says other nations are feeling the heat, and vows not to let America be overrun by criminal networks or drugs. If these reports are accurate, we may be witnessing the start of a new era, where the U.S. takes its war on cartels across borders, using intelligence and precision strikes instead of traditional military invasions.
We've almost totally stopped it by sea. Now we'll stop it by land. We are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control. We've had a couple of days where there isn't a boat to be found. And that, I view that as a good thing, not a bad thing. But we had tremendous amounts coming in by boats, by very expensive boats. You know, they have a lot of money, very fast, very expensive boats that were pretty big. And the way you look at it is every boat that we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives. So every time you see a boat and you feel badly, you say, wow, that's rough. It is rough, but if you lose 3 people and save 25,000 people, these are people that are killing our population. Every boat is saving 25,000 lives, and you can see it. The boats get hit, and you see that fentanyl all over the ocean. It's like floating in bags. It's all over the place.
Mr. President, on Venezuelan boats, I want to ask you, why not have the Coast Guard stop them, which it is empowered by law to do? This way you can confirm who's on the boat and ensure that they're doing what you suspect.
Because we've been doing that for 30 years, and it has been totally ineffective. They have faster boats. Some of these boats are seriously, they're world-class speedboats, but they're not faster than missiles. But we've been trying to do that for years, and so much of the drugs, 25–30%, would come in through the seas. Right now we have, I would say, none coming in through the seas. In fact, I don't know about the fishing industry. If you want to go fishing, a lot of people aren't deciding to even go fishing. We've almost totally stopped it by sea. Now we'll stop it by land.
What's the next step?
But it never worked. It never worked when you did it in a very politically correct manner.
What's the next step in this war on cartels, and are you considering options, are you considering strikes on land?
Well, I don't want to tell you exactly, but we are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control. We've had a couple of days where there isn't a boat to be found, and that I view that as a good thing, not a bad thing. But we had tremendous amounts coming in by boats, by very expensive boats. They have a lot of money, very fast, very expensive boats that were pretty big. And the way you look at it is every boat that we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives. So every time you see a boat and you feel badly, you say, wow, that's rough. It is rough, but if you lose 3 people and save 25,000 people, these are people that are killing our population. Every boat is saving 25,000 lives, and you can see it. The boats get hit, and you see that fentanyl all over the ocean. It's like floating in bags. It's all over the place, and it's a tremendous, we're saving tremendous amounts of lives.
President, thank you. Curious, why did you authorize the CIA to go into Venezuela? And is there more information you can share about these strikes on the alleged
Well, I can't do
drug boats in
that,
the
but
Caribbean?
I authorized for 2 reasons, really. Number one, they have emptied their prisons into the United States of America. They came in through the they came in through the border. They came in because we had an open border policy. And as soon as I heard that, I said, a lot of these countries, they're not the only country, but they're the worst abuser. And they've entered they've allowed thousands and thousands of prisoners, mental institution, people from mental institutions, insane asylums, emptied out into the United States. We're bringing them back, but that's a really bad, and they did it at a level that probably not, many countries have done it, but not like Venezuela. They were down and dirty. And the other thing are drugs. We have a lot of drugs coming in from Venezuela. And a lot of the Venezuelan drugs come in through the sea, so you get to see that. But we're going to stop them by land also.
Does the CIA have authority to take out Maduro?
Oh, I don't want to answer a question like that. That's a ridiculous question for me to be given. Not really a ridiculous question, but wouldn't it be a ridiculous question for me to answer? But I think Venezuela is feeling heat, but I think a lot of other countries are feeling heat too. We're not going to let this country, our country, be ruined because other people want to drop, as you say, their worst. They have given us their worst. They've loaded up our country with prisoners, with mentally ill people that are seriously ill, criminally ill, and we're not going to take it. And so, it's just one of those things. And I can tell you, we've taken care of the sea. There's nobody, and we're watching. We're watching. And if we see it, we'll save it. Yeah, please.
On the ships, though, sir, there are Republicans and Democrats up on the Hill concerned that in the briefings they've gotten about those attacks, they're not necessarily getting information about who was on them and what exactly was on those ships. Can you ensure that
but they are given information that they were loaded up with drugs, and that's the thing that matters. When they're loaded up with drugs, they're fair game. And every one of those ships they're not ships, they're boats, they're speedboats. They're extremely fast, record-setting type speedboats that cost a lot of money, and they have a lot of money because they're drug sellers. But they know one thing, and they all have the same thing in common. There's drug dust. They call it drug dust. They call it fentanyl dust all over the boat after those bombs go off, and you can take along.
Attack them, though, that they're
We know before. We know when they go out. We know we have much information about each boat that goes out. Deep, strong information. Yeah, please.
Sir, you're going to have Vladimir Zelensky here this week. What is your message at this stage of the war for him? And shy of tomahawks...
To who is that?
For Zelensky.
Yeah.
And shy of tomahawks for Ukraine. Are you considering other options, and will you speak with Vladimir Putin about
No, we're looking at other options. We are. President Zelensky's coming in. I'm not a fan of the war. I'm not a fan of the way it started. It should have never happened. It wouldn't have started if I were president. The election was rigged. And because of that, we lost a lot of lives have been lost because of that war. Not American lives, but if I can save a lot of lives, that's why I'm in it. I want to save lives. I've had 8 wars. The Prime Minister of Pakistan got up the other day, said so beautifully, says, you saved millions of lives. He told that to a group of people right in this office. He said the president saved millions of lives. And I think what he's referring to is the fact that that would have been with India, nuclear war. That was getting very close. You know, 7 planes, they don't talk about it, but 7 aircraft were shot down. In fact, we have the new ambassador to India right here. They're well represented. You better represent us, not them, okay? Yeah. But Sergio's going to do a great job. He's going to do a great job. But no, we'll be talking about the war with him, and we'll be talking about, I mean, they want to go offensive. I'll make a determination on that, but they would like to go offensive, you know that, and we'll have to make a determination.
Can I follow up the question, given you have the FBI Director and Attorney General here today, Jim Jordan has asked Jack Smith to appear in front of the House Judiciary.
You mean deranged, Jack? He's a deranged individual, yeah.
He's asked him to...
Well, they should. I'm surprised it takes so long. You know, we're talking about violent crime. What about the crime against a political opponent? That's what we have to talk about, too.
Jordan would like to understand the full extent to which the Biden-Harris Justice Department weaponized federal law enforcement. What do you think the committee will find out, Mr. Smith?
I think it was the worst weaponization of a political opponent in the history of the world, let alone this country. And I hope that everybody's, you know, they're involved in it. I'm not. I'm the one that had to suffer through it and ultimately win. But what they did was criminal. Deranged Jack Smith, in my opinion, is a criminal. And I noticed his interviewer was, I think that was Weissman. And I hope they're going to look into Weissman, too. Weissman's a bad guy. And he had somebody in Lisa, who was his puppet, worked in the office really as the top person. And I think that she should be looked at very strongly. There was tremendous criminal activity having to do. If we don't have fair elections in this country, we're not going to have a country. And I've said it from the beginning, fair elections and borders. And we need also fair press, because if you don't have fair press, it's very tough. And we've got the strongest border of anybody. Nobody has a border. We have a border where the numbers just came out again. You saw 0 people came in illegally. Now, we do take people into our country legally, but 0 people. But, you know, you're talking about a different subject. You're talking about political crime. They have committed massive political crime. I hope they're looking at Shifty Schiff. I hope they're looking at all these people. And I'm allowed to find out. I'm allowed to, you know, I'm, in theory, the chief law enforcement officer. But I have a very good, talented group. This is about something else. But I hope they're looking at political crime, because there's never been so much political crime against a political opponent as what I had to go through. They raided my house in Florida. It was an illegal raid. I have a lawsuit that was doing very well. And when I became president, I said, I'm sort of suing myself. I don't know. How do you settle the lawsuit? I'll say, give me X dollars, right? And I don't know what to do with the lawsuit. It's a great lawsuit. And now I won. It sort of looks bad. I'm suing myself, right? So I don't know. But that was a lawsuit that was very strong, very powerful. They raided illegally my house in Florida, Mar-a-Lago. They went through the drawers of my young son. They went through all of the cabinets and drawers of the First Lady. She walked in, she said, wow, what happened? Because she's very meticulous, and this wasn't so meticulous. As she looked into the drawers and she saw everything a mess. It's what they did against a person that just got out of office. And then you look at these corrupt people. You look at Hunter Biden. You look at the signature. As an example, the Europen. I just signed so many different things. An admiral, a 4-star general. I'm signing them left and right, the commissions. And by the way, I want to compliment John Thune and also Mike, our great speaker. But John Thune All of a sudden, I'm getting these things by the hundreds. I was getting one every 2 weeks. It would have been 4 years before you got them in more. You would have had some that didn't even get in, all because of Democrat obstruction. So John Thune did a great job. I must have signed 200 into the administration. We're just about caught up. It's amazing. And so compliments to John. He had to do some things that were very tough to do that he didn't want to do, but he was forced to do it by the Democrats. And as far as the shutdown's concerned, this is a Democrat Schumer shutdown.
This is a developing story, and the implications are enormous, both for U.S. foreign policy and for stability in Latin America. If Trump's words are followed by action, we could see a direct confrontation with Venezuela unlike anything before. What do you think? Is Trump's hardline approach the solution America needs? Or is this move too dangerous? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and share this video so more people can stay informed about what's really going on.